Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Argos, Zenith, and DreamFou here on Lost Temple. Here we have DreamFou spawning as the blue Protoss player at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Argos Zenith spawning over here at the 1 o'clock position. Should be a pretty interesting matchup. Argos Zenith and one of my friends from Korea who I've been communicating with a lot. His English isn't that good, so we have a difficulty talking sometimes, but really he has never disappointed me in the terms of the quality of his games, showing me games when he wins or loses, but just really interesting games nonetheless. We do have a probe now moving out, and it's not going to be any sort of front door. A front door seal with a gateway and a forge. Argos Zenith, I know he likes to move in with an overlord and then try to pull away at the last second, not trying to give sight. So he will see that that nexus and now pull away and move back around. This drone, however, trying to move out, he will try to send this drone into the base a DreamFou, trying and making it seem as though it is a cross spawn, but already this early probe, it will not work out that well. But DreamFou, doing that early scouting, will quickly be able to find Argos Zenith in just a moment. Back over here, we now see the Nexus getting down a gateway instead. So going for a 12 gateway and then followed with a 13, gonna start chrono boosting that probe once again. Back over here with this probe, not gonna find anything one more time as this drone now coming into the base. We should be seeing an assimilator coming into the base of DreamFou in just a moment. And now back over here, Argos Zenith deciding to go for a 14 hatchery. So a very early hatchery play means that we will see Argos Zenith with a very strong economic advantage in just a moment. It will, however, delay his queen production. And now we see two additional drones move out. I'm not quite sure what is happening over here. This drone now moving back and forth, trying to deny this probe and trying to do any sort of pylon trick, trying to seal it over here and then perhaps get a forge. However, there is a gateway here and I do not see a forge in the base of DreamFou. Back over here, chrono boost currently being wasted, and now it's trying to train up more and more probes once again. That probe, however, I'm going to take a couple quick zaps, and a spawning pool now being morphed in the back of the base. Back over here, an overlord most likely gonna park itself right into this location in just a moment, as the drone able to steal 5 minerals and now will pull out and give those minerals back to that hatchery and say, haha, I stole 5 minerals. Anyways, back over here, we do see an extractor currently being morphed in as that probe almost getting stuck on those rocks over there. Probe now continuing to run around. No queen just quite yet, as that spawning pool still being morphed into play. Another overlord by Zenith. Zenith really positioning these overlords very well. Most likely we'll see another overlord here, just in case he suspects any sort of a drop play from a warp prism or any warp in play from Dark Templars or anything like that. We do see the cybernetics core most likely will be not researching the warp gate, getting an early sentry to hold off any sort of Zergling rush. So he is now going into a double assimilator with a gateway. Gateway will be getting those sentries to try to hold off that front door, and we may see either a Stargate or a Stargate in the back over here, or even a warp prism, Dark Templars, Twilight Councils to try to hide that tech. We do see Argos Zenith now mining from additional mineral patches, so he should get an economic advantage in just a moment as these queens are now being trained at these hatcheries. Back over here, we do see the sentries now moving out. Sentries perhaps trying to get some damage in. Production-wise, another sentry being trained. So, wow, double sentries coming in from DreamFou. DreamFou investing very heavily into these. And now one zealot able to hold off this front door there. And that one drone gonna get zapped. Oh no, there it goes. Finally gets zapped. So that sentry is zapping down that one unit. We do have 2 Zerglings now moving out. Zergling will not be able to break through this front door very easily, as I'm sure DreamFou has already designed this front door and knows that nothing can really break it that easily, as a 3rd sentry now being trained. We do see what the strategy now is going into a 2-gate, maybe going into some sort of 3-gate strategy, and that is very interesting. It looked as though DreamFou was trying to do something else, but now with the massive number of sentries that he's currently training up, he might be going for a zealot sentry push off of 4 gates or 3 gates. Back over here, hatchery now continuing to spawn more and more units. The army wise, you're going to see Argos or DreamFou coming in with a very large army in just a moment, and with that sentry he should be able to block any additional reinforcements from coming down that ramp, and that will deal a lot, that will hurt things very significantly. Argos Zenith, however, gonna get that creep tumor here, and now more sentries continuing to be warped in. We do see the warp gates should be researching in just a moment, and we're getting hallucination. So we're getting hallucination as well, and that is going to be a very interesting strategy indeed, as now this gateway will be upgraded to a warp gate in just a moment. And that, well, it should be, there we go, upgrading to a warp gate as well. And DreamFou, with a very, very strong economy, should be able to pump out zealots and sentries very, very quickly. This army, even though it doesn't look like much, 500 mineral army consists of what, 4 sentries and 3 zealots. So I really like this play. And now in comes a forge, so that forge is going to essentially make some sort of front door seal here. Zerglings, if they want to try to run in, will have a very difficult time running in at all. Production wise, we do see the hallucination forge now upgrading the tier 2 as well. So upgrading the tier 2, and the opportunity and this window of attack is going to be very, very small. DreamFou really needs to try to push out at some moment. I'm surprised he didn't go for a 4 gate, only going for a 3 gate, as that hallucination will be completed. So wow, this hallucination is going to have a lot of energy, and it will be a lot of faked out units here in just a moment. So now, oh god, coming in with a hallucination Phoenix in order to do some scouting. So very nicely done, that Phoenix, and now getting a couple quick zaps on that Overlord. He should quickly realize that it is a hallucination, trying to scout out the bases, and that Queen now trying to get in some hits as well. That Phoenix finally pulling away, getting another scout over here as the Zerglings have taken down these destructible rocks. So a hallucination Phoenix in order to try to get some scout out. That Phoenix moves very, very quickly, 4.25 movement speed, and now there is one Overlord here. So we're now getting some Stalkers, and now finally a robotics facility. One Overseer now currently in play, and that Overseer does realize that that is a hallucination, and that hallucination will be destroyed in just a moment. However, Sentry's now going after this Overseer. Overseer moving very, very slowly because it does not have the movement upgrades over there. Currently that Overseer down to 128 hit points. Will it get shot down out of the sky? The Sentry has movement speed of 2.25. Will it be enough? No, unable to get enough damage onto that. However, Zergling's now trying to come by over here, trying to take down this Assimilator. Assimilator will get taken down, but it should perhaps be going for those probes. Assimilators have so many hit points that it's not even funny for these Zerglings to try to get any real damage off. And wow, these Zerglings, all of them getting destroyed and barely able to take down that Assimilator there. But he was able to deny that gas. Back over here, another Overseer. We do see the weapons upgrade currently being halted at this forge because of this Contaminate. So that Contaminate adding an additional 30 units of time to build. Back over here, we do see some Spine Crawlers in transition, and this is going to be very, very bad. One of the Spine Crawler going to get shot down very easily. Force Field maybe come into play. Oh, nice transfusion at just the last moment in order to save that one Spine Crawler, and nicely done. Zergling trying to go after the Zealot. Zealot, no, not going to get torn apart as these Sentries. However, Sentry now going to get torn apart, and now going to come in over here. Are we going to get a Guardian Shield? Yeah, Guardian Shield trying to protect more and more of these units. Hydralisk now trying to focus down some of these sentries, and those one Hydralisk getting, and just for some reason not very smart, and in comes another Queen. That Queen, no, gonna get shot down. Now going after another Queen. Another Guardian Shield needs to get thrown up. Force Field's coming up instead. Hydralisk move very quickly on creep, and now the Spine Crawler, however, going to take some damage over here. So yeah, the opportunity and that window of pressure that DreamFou had quickly lost, as Spine Crawlers now coming into play, and Argos Zenith will be able to macro up and defeat the Toss player. We do have the level 1 weapons upgrade, so that level 1 weapon upgrade would have been completed during that attack. His timing just a little bit off because of that attack over there. Army wise, 1750 for Argos Zenith, and DreamFou sitting at 1325. Taking a look at the harvester count, Argos Zenith is mining a little or about the same, even though he's down 6 harvesters. Over here we do see another Overseer. The Overseer may try to do another Contaminate onto that onto this forge, and if he's able to, yeah, getting another Contaminate off, and that forge constantly being denied to do any sort of research. Stalkers and Sentries now taking down these destructible rocks over here. Stalkers have that level 1 weapon upgrade. Sentries also getting that level 1 weapon upgrade as well. So the Sentries able to deal more and more damage. One Overlord still sitting at site over here, able to keep track of how saturated this particular expansion is. We do have some Hydralisks. Hydralisks have the level 1 armor upgrade, so that armor upgrade very critical as well to try to counter those Zealots. I believe it is 6 damage or 6 attacks from a Zealot in order to get taken down. An overseer, another overseer cocoon now being hatched over here, as there's a lot of overlords sitting over here. So no void rays, no stalkers to really void rays to really shoot down these overlords. These overlords do not, they do have that movement speed, so the overseers are now moving much more quickly as well, and will be able to continue to do a lot of harassment. Stalkers now making their way over here, perhaps to try to shoot down these overlords, and in come those units. Stalkers need to perhaps get within position over here as this nexus now finishing, and now those stalkers should have just probably gotten in position earlier. But however, those overlords now shot down. Stalkers able to get 2 quick kills over there. Back over here, a Zergling pecking away at a pylon. That pylon will take some damage. However, Stalker should be able to clean that up fairly easily. Yeah, there it goes. Zergling never stood a chance. Back over here, we do see another Colossus now being trained as the level 2 weapons upgrade being trained. And without any Corruptors, I do see one, I believe I saw a Spire. Yeah, there is a Spire. And Corruptors could be trained very, very quickly at 150 minerals, 100 gas. Mutalisk, however, quickly coming into the base here. And Mutalisk now going after this one photon cannon. More Stalkers need to be trained up, but these Mutalisks will be able to deal a lot of damage towards these probes. And now come back over here. Stalkers do have Stalker blink. They should try to blink and try to get underneath, perhaps trying to take down some more of those units. Another Mutalisk getting shot down out of the sky. However, Zerglings, no, Hydralisk now coming in over here. So Argos just attacking from 2 places at once. Stalkers now trying to move back, but Mutalisk quickly coming back in, and only one pylon operating a lot of these buildings. And now in comes another Overseer. Overseer now contaminating the robotics bay as the Hydralisk taking down over here. So doing a great job of constantly swarming, keeping DreamFou off of out of position constantly. Army-wise, he will lose all of these Hydralisks though, but these Mutalisks will be able to take down a significant number of these probes. So now we see a 37 Harvester count compared to 80, and now Argos, with that very strong economic advantage, should be able to just start tearing apart and just start out macroing his opponent. DreamFou needs to try to put a little bit of pressure at this time. If he stays in his base, he will end up losing very, very quickly. Photon cannons currently being warped in as this group of Mutalisks trying to take down this Nexus over here. Weapons attack has not been upgraded, trying desperately to try to take down these buildings over here. And now in come these Stalkers. Mutalisks now coming back onto this high ground, may be able to come in here and deal more damage towards those probes. No, not coming back in, not going for any quick kill. And now Argos Zenith doing a great job making sure that DreamFou cannot put any sort of pressure. In comes some more of those Mutalisks. Mutalisks may try to take down. No, not going to take down any of those additional units. 4 photon cannons here. And that is just too well defended for these group of Mutalisks to try to deal any damage any further. Gonna come in, yeah, take a couple quick photon cannon attacks there, and now decide to pull back once again. We do see one Zergling here, and now Argos Zenith taking an additional expansion. Harvester count 2,200 versus 720. More than double the amount of Harvesters. So Argos Zenith will be able to out-Zerg or start Zerging the Protoss player in just a moment. Level 2 weapon or level 3 weapons upgrade, however. So those Colossus will be able to deal a lot of damage very, very quickly, and more Colossus still being trained. Those Colossus will be able to deal that 21 damage per attack, which is absolutely critical. However, there is the level 2 armor upgrades, so it will still take 3 attacks from Colossus in order to finish that. Group of Mutalisks over here now trying to put a lot more pressure onto the base. Stalkers now coming in, quickly blinking in to deal more damage. Photon Cannon still out of range. I don't know why those Colossus want to join in on that fight. They can't hit the air as those Mutalisks now gathering over here. Back over here, a group of overlords were just trying, I guess, suicide into the base, and now we see Argos Zenith sitting on a lot of minerals and not that much gas. He is currently gas locked. Needs to perhaps try to grab these 2 additional Vespene geysers and these 2 as well. Back over here, Hydralisk and now a Roach army being massed. I do not see a Nidus network. I do see however, an Ultralisk cavern being brought into play, and that Ultralisk cavern may spell the doom as more and more Mutalisks coming in. Stalkers quickly blinking in, however, able to almost shoot down another one of these units, and more Stalkers over here able to deal damage as well. Photon cannons, the sheer number of these Mutalisks should be able to clean up these Stalkers, and that's going to be a problem as more Stalkers now being warped in, taking some damage as they're being warped in as well. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between DreamFou and Argos Zenith here on Lost Temple.